Hi students, welcome to lesson number 13, Perspectives on the Study of Caste System. Part A, Introduction. Caste is a form of social stratification which is unique to India. Caste system is a closed system of stratification which has existed for more than 3000 years and its exact origin is still not known. Caste is considered as both a cultural and structural phenomena. Culturally, it is a system of value, beliefs and practices associated with a particular strata. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 studied caste from a racial perspective. Nesfield gave a theory of caste based on occupation. Scholars like 𝗳𝗧𝗭𝗪𝗧 have understood it in cultural terms. Structurally, it refers to a specific pattern of interrelations along with interactions among the various castes on the basis of various disabilities and restriction. Structural approach also studies actual power relations between caste groups and inequalities thereof. Now let us discuss about the objectives of this lesson. The main objectives of this lesson are: number 1, to discuss about the 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧's perspective on caste system. Number 2, to discuss about the structural functional perspective of 𝗵𝗫𝗏 on caste system. Now let us discuss about 𝗳𝗧𝗭𝗪𝗧's perspective on caste system. 𝗳𝗧𝗭𝗪𝗧 was one of the earliest sociologists who offered a systematic perspective on the caste system. In his research work, Caste and Race in India, he has examined caste from a historical, indological, comparative and integrative perspective. According to him, caste and kinship have played an integrative role in India. According to 𝗧𝗭𝗪𝗧, the whole Indian society is caste based and even tribes are also part of this system, as opposed to the Western notion that tribes and castes are two different concepts. According to him, tribals are backward Hindus who are at various levels of assimilation in Hindu society. He also opposed the colonial view of isolating the tribals. 𝗧𝗭𝗪𝗧 is also known for offering a comprehensive definition of caste. His definition emphasizes 6 features which were derived from various indological studies done by him. Number 1, caste is an institution based on segmental division. This means that caste society is divided into a number of closed, mutually exclusive segments or compartments. It is closed as caste is decided by birth. The children born to parents of a particular caste will always belong to that caste. Number 2, caste society is based on hierarchical division. They are arranged in a top-down fashion. No two castes are ever equal. Number 3, the institution of caste necessarily involves restrictions on feeding and social interaction, especially regarding the sharing of food. These rules are governed by ideas of purity and pollution. Number 4, following from the principles of hierarchy and restricted social interaction, caste also involves differential rights and duties for different castes and civil and religious disabilities and privileges. Number 5. Caste restricts the choice of occupation, which, like caste itself, is decided by birth and is hereditary. 6th point. Caste involves strict restrictions on marriage. Caste endogamy or marriage only within the caste is often accompanied by rules about exogamy or whom one may not marry. His greatest emphasis among these features was on endogamy, as it maintains the boundary of caste groups. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 definition helped to make the study of caste more systematic. He has also analyzed the changing pattern of caste system and has opined that it will diminish with the rise of modern education, but at the same time caste based social and political organizations are developing. It will be difficult to eliminate it very soon. According to him, scramble for benefits will destroy the unity of Indian society. His conceptual definition was based on what the classical texts prescribed. In actual practice, many of these features of caste were changing, though all of them continue to exist in some form. He has, however, tried to glorify the culture of India in general and of Hindus in particular. He also depicted caste as an integrative force in society in the past, but also acknowledged its disharmonious present role. He proposed a revival of culture to infuse spirit of fraternity to get rid of the current evils from the caste system. His critics accuse him of relying too much on text and not going for empirical studies. According to 𝗵𝗵𝗍, his understanding of caste is confusing, as he continuously changes his goal post from Indological to diffusionism to comparative to outright nationalism. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is also accused of taking a Hindu-centric view of society, which is apparent by his labeling of tribes as backward Hindus. Srinivas also takes exemption to understanding of caste rooted in Varna system, as it makes the caste system rigidly hierarchical, but in practice caste structure is dynamic. So, he makes a shift from Varna view to caste view. Now, let us discuss the structural functional perspective of M.N. Srinivas on caste system. M.N. Srinivas introduced dynamism into the otherwise static concept of caste. Through terms such as Sanskritization, dominant caste, vertical intercaste and horizontal intra-caste solidarities, Srinivas sought to capture the fluid and dynamic essence of caste as a social institution. Through his works and concepts, he rejected the monolithic and pan-Indian view of the caste system. In his seminal work, Religion and Society among the Coorts of South India, he uses a theoretical framework derived from structural functionalism of Radcliffe Brown, which he combined with the sociological Indology. He considered Varna as a broad framework of reference used for the study of caste system, but draws deeper understanding of caste as an empirical reality from ethnographic studies. He viewed caste as rooted in local hierarchy rather than in broader Varna framework. He wrote numerous books and essays on caste like Caste in Modern India, The Dominant Caste and Other Essays, and Village, Caste, Gender and Method, to elaborate upon his idea of caste system. He predominantly used field studies to explain the working of caste, but also resorted to Indological sources. In fact, he used a multidimensional approach and focused on not just tradition, but he also understood caste in terms of status, wealth and power. He rejected monocausal approach of 𝗬𝗎 in understanding the caste in terms of purity and pollution only. Srinivas didn't profess himself as a structural functionalist, but considered Indological and Marxist approaches as too ambitious for the study of Indian society, as they claim an absolute understanding of Indian society. He also had a segmentary view of caste. According to him, castes have numerous subdivisions in the form of subcaste, and study of all of them under an all encompassing theory is doing an injustice to the study of caste. He made a clear distinction between Varna and Jati or caste. According to Srinivas, Varna is a macro theoretical scheme, whereas caste or Jati is an all India phenomena defining reality. He viewed caste system as dynamic and rejected the Varna view, which considers caste system as a rigid hierarchical system. Srinivas insists that the social reality of the caste system is not Varna, the ideological categorization, but Jati, the subcaste, that is actually the interacting group. According to him, concentration on Varna also meant stressing on the ritual factors in mutual caste ranking at the expense of economic and political factors. At the same time, he also acknowledged that each caste and subcaste has certain common attributes like hierarchy, occupational differentiation, restrictions and purity pollution based relations. Hierarchy, according to him, is the core of the caste, and caste structure is guided by two hierarchies, one guided by ritual and other secular. Ritual hierarchy is manifested in dressing, rules of segregation, rules of eating, marriage, etc. Secular hierarchy is manifested in power, wealth, education, etc. According to him, mobility in secular hierarchy by way of migration, ownership of land, government jobs, etc., is a historical fact, and this mobility in secular hierarchy also leads to change in the ritual or cultural position of different castes and subcastes also, which he termed as Sanskritization. Hence, according to him, caste system is not as rigid as depicted by historians and social researchers. He also bolstered his claim with numerous empirical examples like caste of Bengal during the Mughal times started to come close to the ruling elite and eventually declared themselves as Rajputs. Similar is the example of rise of Jats in North India and Lingayats in Karnataka as dominant castes. He viewed caste in much dynamic terms and deemed secular mobility as a precondition for ritual mobility. According to him, caste mobility is essentially group mobility, as it leads to upliftment of the whole group in the local hierarchy. He also mentions the concept of dominant caste to illustrate the fluidity of caste system. According to him, castes which are even ritually lower in hierarchy can have a dominant position by the virtue of their numbers and land resources. For long, he believed that caste will remain an important dimension of the Indian society. But in his last public speech in 1999 in Bangalore at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, titled Obituary on Caste as a System, he acknowledged that caste will ultimately fade away. He attributed it largely to the disappearance of caste-based division of labor in most parts of India and delinking of production from jati. His combination of book view and field view opened numerous avenues to understand caste in India. Also, his theoretical strands were picked up by scholars like F.G. Bailey and M.S.A. Rao in the understanding of mobility in caste system in different parts of the country. However, he is often criticized for taking a view of society from the perspective of the dominant sections of the society. He is accused of giving Sanskritization undue importance and ignoring the culture of lower castes. Others argue that Sanskritization was also not a new concept and just a cosmetic makeover of the universal process of reference groups. Caste system has been analyzed by using Indological perspective, structural functional perspective and subaltern perspective, etc. The sociologists like 𝗳𝗏, M.N. Srinivas, Louis Dumont, 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 have contributed for the sociological understanding of the caste system.